Okay, before I show y'all how to do this style, let me explain why miracle knots are not for me. To me, it is not a protective style, and this is why. Do you see how they put the hair on this string? And you see that piece there? It is not pliable. It does not bend well with your natural hair when it bends. So for that reason, I believe it causes a lot of damage. And on top of that, a lot of your natural hair is exposed with miracle knots. So there's no way that it's protecting your hair. And braids naturally break off with friction, so definitely not. Alright, so is it good for fine hair? No, I don't believe it is. For the reasons I mentioned before, the friction from the curly pieces of hair themselves will definitely cause breakage. And then we can get into why I did the style. So I didn't do the style exactly, I modified it. Yeah, so being that I'm a hair braider, I'm going to show you exactly the method I believe is the best way of going about doing this style to avoid, well, I would say minimize breakage, because you're going to get breakage with this style, period. I don't see how you could avoid it completely, but it's still gorgeous and beautiful nonetheless, and it is a cheaper alternative, especially if you get goddess braids year round. At least you can reuse this hair rather than the other option. So this hair did have a smell, but I do like this brand more than I like other brands. I got it from Eula Hair Official on Instagram. I did go to the regular website and just order it. I didn't order it directly from Instagram. I'm not even sure if that's an option, but that's how I did it. And I washed the hair because it does have a smell, and I just couldn't ignore it. It just kind of smelled factory like. So I did wash and condition it with a regular hair shampoo and conditioner that I use for my natural hair, and that was that. I let it air dry overnight, and when I woke up the next morning, it was ready for me to do my hair. So it's a very beautiful curl pattern. It is Burmese curly. It's 22 inches, and I only used a bundle and a half to achieve the look that I had in the clip from the beginning of the video. All right, but I'm going to show you guys the method that I think is the closest to miracle knots if you don't want to use additional braiding hair and you just want to use the human hair itself. But I didn't like the method that I'm going to show you at first because how fine my hair is. So this method would work more so for people that have 4C hair textures. Okay, so let's get right into it after I show you guys how it looks once it's dried. So this is the following day in the morning, and it's very nice. It looks very natural. It feels super soft. Of course, the more you touch it, the fluffier it gets, but that's what curly hair does. But yeah, it was fire. So for the first style, the first method, I did use all 2 bundles, and it looks very similar to the other one. So I did use 3 pieces for basically the middle of my head, and for some pieces on the front. So everything else, all 3 other sides, I did not use any curly hair for throughout. I just used it on the end to avoid matting. So as you guys see, I separated it into 3 so that I could braid it evenly, and then I just went right in. Alright, so plait over 2 times, feed in the human hair, plait over 2 more times, feed in another piece of human hair, then I braid down, and I'm pulling out curly pieces on both sides of the braid. So if you start off with pulling out the right side, then the next piece you want to pull out on the left side so that it has more of a cascading waterfall effect, and then just braid down further. And then once you get closer to the end of your hair, you will add in the final piece of braiding hair that will create more length for the braid itself. All right, so now it's time to do the knot. So I do the knot around twice, and then I separate that piece of hair that I pulled around to do the knot, and I did 2 more knots around it. So once you separate the piece, one piece goes on one side, another one goes on the other side of the braid, and then you tie 2 more knots, and that's that. This is also easy to take out, so it doesn't make the hair unable to be reused. You just simply use a fine tail comb and you just comb it out, and that's it. Other than the parameter of my head, each piece had 3 curly pieces on the braid, and that's how I did it throughout my head, and it came out pretty full, but it still just was very it was just lacking to me. It just wasn't as full as I wanted to be. Granted, of course, this is supposed to be a very natural looking look. I also go to the gym and it's very humid in New York, and I just knew that this style was going to look rough after 1 month and I was going to be ready to take it out. So for me, I need that braiding hair to make my hair look more full and just make the braids look more, you know, unison. Like, I feel like they looked okay, but being that I braid hair often, it just looked like I just learned how to braid yesterday, and it was really because of the texture of my hair. So know your hair texture. This will definitely work for the girlies that have 4C hair, because your hair is full enough to make it look like it's full and healthy and, you know, all of that. But for the fine hair girlies, I don't really think this is really for us. Okay, and I wasn't going to crochet it through because I just knew I did not want to do that because of friction, and I didn't want the human hair to be rubbing against my natural hair follicles. I feel like adding that human hair, well, the braiding hair in, adds an extra barrier to create less friction. So this is method 2. This is a method I went with. I used Gyal braids, braiding hair, and this is a piece the size of the piece that I use, and I separated it into 3. This is after cutting the entire bundle that I received from Gyal braids in half, because I want it to be I don't want the braids to be too long. I still want them to stop after my natural hair ends, but I didn't want it to be like super bulky. I still wanted it to look super natural, if you get what I'm saying. I just needed more structure, like a better foundation for the braid itself. So I do end up going in normal, separating the hair into 3. This is the best method for me when it comes to braiding, just to make sure that my braid is in the center, and I'm not like putting too much tension on one side of the box braid compared to the other, if you get what I'm saying. I definitely prefer this method over the first method, and I do suggest this style for, like, say you're going on a tropical vacation, or you're going on vacation in general and you need a quick style, and you didn't schedule in advance, you don't want to sit there for a long amount of time, then yeah, this style will be great. But for longevity, like keeping it in for months, this is the best method in my opinion over doing the miracle knots how they've been showing on social media. So I know it's viral and it's cute, but no. So as you guys see, 2 plaits over, and then I added in the braiding hair. I believe I did 4 plaits, which is very unlike me, but I was tired. So then I added in another piece of braiding hair, and then for this last one, you don't have to do it this way, but it worked for me. I wanted to feed in the human hair as fast as possible, so I kind of put the braiding hair on top of the human hair and just lock that in, and then I braid it down, and then I I consider the braiding hair 2 legs, all right, because it's one side, and both sides are connected by the thread. So I braid down, and then I take one leg out, one complete side of the curly hair, I take it out of the braid, and I just continue with that method all the way down. So as you guys see, I get to a point where I'm able to take it out, or where I think it's a good area to take it out, and I'm just trying to make sure that I don't have any braiding hair along with it. Although I can cut it, I just, you know, it's better to avoid that. And as you guys see, I'm thinking I left a piece in, so I'm going back in to remove that and relift the braided area again. And then I'm going to continue to braid down. Okay, so I'm braiding down, and normally I would have added in the human hair right after, because I have a leg that's short, but I didn't. So I braided down a little further than I normally would, and then I just added in the human hair and I continue to braid down. Now I'm going to go for the leg that now would have 2 pieces of human hair on it, and I'm going to pull that piece out. Alright, so there's 3 legs now. I'm going to take one leg within a leg out of human hair. I hope I'm explaining it right. So the fullest piece, I'm going to take a curly piece out of that one, essentially. And I'm going to continue to braid down. And once I'm measuring with the back piece of my hair, I always use the braid at the nape of my neck to measure the length of my other braids to avoid from having to cut too much hair. As you guys see, this is the best method for me. It works. Even when I do other people's hair, I do it the same way, just so that you don't have to clean up as much at the ends, and you don't end up wasting product. Alright, so I'm braiding down. You guys saw me feed in the last piece of braiding hair. I only used 3 pieces. Just like all the tutorials you guys have probably seen, people were using 3 pieces. So yeah, along the perimeter of my head, I used, I believe, 2 pieces. And I didn't pull any pieces out. I just braided all the way down to avoid any matting. You know, in the future, I'm gonna be honest, I've tried to do the curly pieces on the back, taking out the curly pieces of the braid, and it just caused matting and I hated it. So now I'm doing my little knots, 1 knot, 2 knots, separate that piece of hair, do 2 more knots, and you're tying them together at this point, tying those 2 separate pieces of hair together. And that's gonna allow the end to stay. Like I stated in the first portion of the video, you can comb it out easily with a comb. It is not permanent. And then there you go, boom. So it came out really nice, and I'm gonna show you guys one more time, but this time it's gonna be on the front piece of hair. So yeah, I really can't believe I literally took them all out after a week of having them, because the first method was not doing it for me. It just wasn't. It was giving rookie, and I am not a rookie, so I couldn't be walking around like that. People loved it, but I was not feeling it. So now I'm going in. I am putting some styling jam on my roots, just to smooth it out, give it a little bit of shine, and allow me to grab all of those little pieces of hair that be trying to not be braided. And then I'm gonna go in just as I did with the other one. But I am going to do something a little different, because I want some pieces hanging out from the front, like, you know, kind of like antennas. I know I hate saying it that way, but that's what they be looking like. But I like the antennas. So in order to create that look, I do end up having to feed in the curly pieces earlier and also taking them out earlier. So my method does change a little bit. So braiding, you know, separating it evenly into 3 sections, braiding over 2 times, feed in the human hair and the braiding hair. I put them on top of each other as I did last time, and like I said, it's because I need to take the curly piece out sooner. So I'm braiding over 2 times, and now I'm adding in another piece of braiding hair. I'm going down 2 more times. I don't know what's going on, so I did 3 times, which is a no-no, but it's okay. So I went down 3 times and I fed in another piece of hair, and now I'm just gonna braid down and start to try to figure out how I'm gonna take out this curly piece. And I feel like the earlier you take out the curly piece, the harder it is to make sure your hair isn't included. But yeah, my hair was pretty dry, I didn't have any products on it, so it was a little easier to identify. So I am going to continue to braid down, and then I'm going to add in another curly piece of hair pretty soon. This is a front piece of my hair. So the front pieces, typically I really only take 1 or 2 curly pieces out, just because I don't be wanting it too full in my face if I do decide to wear my hair down, or like I just feel like it helps. And being that I do want that little antenna effect, I obviously wouldn't want multiple pieces in the front piece, if you get what I'm saying. So really you just want to make sure that the braids are like, you see how it's basically a uniform braid. There's no lumps, there's no areas where you can tell like I took that piece out, and you just kind of pay attention to how you feed in the curly pieces of hair so that it can look like this. And I'm going to add in 1 more piece of curly hair to make the length align with that back piece that you just saw. So the back braid I took out is for guidance, because that is the longest braid in my head, and as you get closer to the top of your head, it's going to become harder for you to match lengths. So you always want to keep a reference braid, just so you can avoid having to cut too much of the hair later. And that's basically it. So I feel like it helps a lot. Even when I do other people's hair, I have a reference braid in the back of their head that I'm constantly comparing to, so that I don't have to cut too much of the hair in the end. And that's basically it. It's really the same thing that I did in the other one. It's just less hair that I took out, and I really do prefer this style better. So yeah, to my fine hair girlies, definitely try Miracle Knots if you want. I just think there are certain styles that are meant for certain hair textures, and Miracle Knots are not one of them for us. And it's really, not only is our hair fine, if your hair is fine, it also breaks off easier because of the fact that it's fine. So yeah. The biggest difference to me is really that the purpose of me doing it this way was to conceal that tough piece that is connected to the thread and the hair. That kind of, it in my head, it's kind of like if you were to put nail glue at the end of human hair to make it all bond together, and then you try to put it in your hair. It's going to be more abrasive on your hair than anything else. So I felt that encapsulating it in a braid will kind of reduce the amount of friction, because at least it's not rubbing against the other pieces of hair, it's enclosed in a braid. The Miracle Knots, that piece is just out and it's rubbing against other hair follicles constantly. So I feel like this reduces the amount of damage that could possibly be caused. I love this method because at least I am now able to really reuse the hair, and that's the best part to me, because I'll be saving money. Typically I would have to buy braiding hair with each style. Now I've paid one time, one amount, and I can use it for the rest of the year or longer, depending on the quality of the hair. So definitely 10 out of 10. Also, if the main important thing is that you oil the hair, and you also put mousse on the hair, and you treat the hair as if it was your own curly hair. And I mean treat it well, or you will end up looking like some type of matted dog, and it won't be cute. So as you guys saw, I put a good amount of mousse on it, and it's not going to dry this way, and it's not crunchy because of the mousse brand that I used. The brand is for curly hair. So yeah, on Jackie's Mousse, get you some. And I do end up adding some more to the back of my head, because you see it's kind of dry back there. I want everything to be saturated, because I need the curls to clump together and get reacquainted, because I separated them a lot and I just want them to be more, conjoined. So definitely recommend this style this way though. If you have 4C hair, go crazy. You can probably do it. It won't break off a lot of your hair, but for the fine hair girlies, don't even think about it. Don't think about it. If you have fuller fine hair, yeah, you can try it, but still the risk still stands. All right, but it came out so cute. 1.5 packs of hair, a half of a bundle of braiding hair, and everything just came out amazing. Remember to spritz your scalp and put oil on your hair weekly. I am going to be living in this style until my birthday, so until around August, when I like to do my extra long goddess braids, because they just be doing it. They be doing it for me. So I did that video before my goddess braids. It's the last goddess braid video on my page. Eat down, that's my favorite, hands down. Took me like 10 hours, small braids, 10 out of 10. This is a good alternative for when you just don't feel like doing all of that work. So yeah, definitely faster, shorter, a more attainable length, and it's very full because of the way they did the human hair. It's more full than my average goddess braids are because of that, and I appreciate it so much. This is a genius way. And let's talk about styling and accessorizing. Oh my god, I am a claw clamp girly. I love claw clamps. They're so cute. There's so many kinds. Like, they have the fuzzy ones, they have the heart-shaped ones, they got the chrome, the silver, the gold, like anything you could imagine. I even have an anime claw clips from Shein, W Mans with the claw clips. Then there's Target be having fire ones too, but Shein, yup. And then when they get to you, they're not broken either. That was me testing to see if my scalp was dry, and it wasn't. But yeah, so yeah, check me out on Instagram. I be posting all the time, looks, styles, hair, gym, all of that. Right now I'm a gym girly, so I'm locked in, and this style is gonna hold me down for the next couple of months. I'm just gonna keep redoing it until I'm tired. I'm so serious. I love it that much. It's so full, it's so soft, it's so flowy, and it's just a vibe. It's just a vibe. It's adorable. So yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comment section. Love you guys. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.